game with the black pieces against Zenthil97 rated 1255. We're going to get into a Caro-Kann pawn structure with c6 and d5. White plays very non-standard with bishop d3 protecting the pawn. I'm going to take his strong pawn. You have other options, but I'm going to take, forcing him to recapture, so that when I develop my knight, it's for free. Speeds up my development a little bit. He doesn't move the bishop, so I'm definitely going to take it and remove one of his attacking units from the game. He recaptures, and now it's just an equal position. Let's shuffle our knight over to the king side and replace the knight we just lost. You could do that. You could definitely just go knight f6. But you don't have to do that. But let's just do it. Now our knight is exactly where it wants to be, challenging his most developed piece. He takes. You could open up for quicker bishop development. You could open up the g file towards this king. I'm going to open up the g file towards this king. He develops a rook and pins my e-pawn and stares at my king. That's fair. I'm going to just develop. I want to castle queenside, so I need to get rid of these pieces. I developed a minor piece while controlling the center. He now pushes a pawn and opens up the diagonal for his bishop. His bishop most likely wants to develop here. So let's put our queen on c7, preventing his development and preparing our long castle. And everything looks nice. You could have maybe also gone to d5 and pressured this knight, I'm just realizing. But either way, queen c7 is a fine move. So he develops his bishop here, saying, hey, if you long castle, I'll take your pawn. We're okay with that. Let's keep making other moves that we definitely want to make in the position. We want our rook here. We want e6 in. We want to develop this bishop. We do want a long castle. His bishop is here. It's a little weird. We might even have ideas of using the f-pawn to harass it, but not right now. First, let's make the very important standard e6 move. And he attacks our bishop, trying to clarify the situation. I don't necessarily want to take just yet. I feel like there's no reason not to maintain the pin. He can't break it with a bishop. So that kind of ties his queen to this diagonal, unless he wants to play this, which weakens his king. So he moves his bishop and attacks this pawn, but it's kind of a weird move. Maybe he wants to provoke this and create some light square weaknesses. It's possible. But we want to develop our dark square bishop anyway. So let's cover this. It breaks this pin. It also protects the pawn. So he does a rook lift to protect the knight so he can move the queen without doubling his pawns. But his piece construction looks a little vulnerable for one reason or another. I mean, we can force his bishop back for any reason, but what's the reason? Yeah, there's no real reason. We want to get this rook in the game. We also want to get it off this diagonal, so a logical move is rook here. So let's do that. Even when his knight is unpinned, it's not going anywhere. So his knight is unpinned, but he is going into a different alignment that we might be able to take advantage of. We could go f5, releasing control over the dark squares in the center, which you normally wouldn't do. But if he jumps his knight there, you can skewer the guy. But that's kind of a cheapo. I don't want to weaken my center for a cheapo. So if I long castle and he takes this pawn, what do we do? What's our move? Yeah, there's no real like perfect move there, so in that case I'm thinking of putting my queen here, improving it towards his king. I'm hitting the knight and the bishop, so that's a lot of pressure for him to deal with. A lot of stuff's hanging. X round the queen. I like this move. Very active. We're threatening various things like taking the knight and then the bishop. Also, if you take the knight, you can't take the desired way with the rook because your queen hangs. So you would have to still double your pawns and then lose the bishop. But that doesn't work either because your pawn is pinned, so you would have no choice but to lose your queen. So in this position, to sum it all up, this knight is immediately hanging because you cannot take back. So forget about the bishop. That's just something else, a different problem. The immediate problem is this knight's hanging, and it's protecting the bishop. So this one piece going to this square pressures 4 different pieces all at once. So it's very weird, and it shows you the importance of a move like bishop e7, not only defending this pawn but breaking the pin, because let's say the bishop was home, he goes rook takes pawn check, winning your queen. Okay, so he tries to just double rooks and aim at my king, which normally makes sense, but this is still hanging, so let's take it. Free piece. Illegal to move the pawn. If you move the rook, you hang the queen. Your bishop is hanging as well as this check, so that's also something he can't solve. So the game is over at this point. If we give this check, it gives him the escape route. If we take with this, we can at least threaten some checkmates. I mean, it doesn't matter what you do, everything's winning. Check here. I guess I should probably look for a follow-up. I mean, you can give the check back, and then if he has to go back, yeah, that works. It's just easy. Like, I don't have to calculate anything. He goes here, I go... What did I say? I said I go here? Wait, that doesn't work. I mean, I could still take the bishop, though. I don't know why I thought this worked. He could just take it. Okay, I could win a bishop. Do I have better? I mean, I'm already up 7 points of material, so... And look at his king Oreo sandwich. Okay, now he tries to castle, but it's too late. The game's over. He has no threats. I'll just take more free stuff and infiltrate this way. Okay, he's moving pawns. That doesn't matter. Looking at this, but that is a little bit weird. We can immediately do this, but our king is in the line of fire, so... I mean, if we long castle and he goes queen a5, we just scoot our king over. Shouldn't be a big deal. Also queen a3. So let's just long castle, line up with this. Okay, he attacks our bishop, so our bishop's currently hanging, but that gives us this check. He either hangs the rook or I force a queen trade. So he goes for the queen trade, but we're up everything, so it's good for us. And now we can just take more free stuff. Okay, he keeps hitting our bishop, but we move and defend. He's not actually creating any threats, and so he resigns because he realizes there's nothing left in the position. That's a good observation. Where's the... Okay, anyway. So we get a Caro-Kann, and he plays this really weird move, which is playable. I mean, it looks ugly, but you could technically play it. It's whatever. We have one mistake, but it's still a 95% accuracy game, so it's fine. So we just take the pawn. I mean, you probably have other moves, but by taking the pawn, you're removing his strong central pawn, and you're developing for free, so it can't be that bad. And then if he lets you take the bishop, it definitely can't be bad. But maybe he has no choice, and so here we just develop and center. We continue because you need to remove it to get out of the way. And now you solve the problem. A lot of times you have a problem with this extra b8 knight. It doesn't really have a good square, but now you don't have that problem. It's gone. So he takes. You can take either way, but I like to play like this because it's fun. We open up the rook. And now we just develop our minor piece with a pin, which affects the center. Now we develop another piece with a little bit of prophylaxis. I'm curious, is this move... Yeah, it's also playable, so that's another thing. But you don't have to do that. You could also move your rook here first, which stops him from doing this. But whatever. We develop towards the center. And now center and development. And now because we didn't play our rook to g8 yet, he's able to play this move we can't take. But we still keep the pin, so it's also not a big deal. And now he attacks our pawn. So we develop and force move. And now he goes very natural, rook lift, protecting the knight. But automatically from this point, it goes from this is a playable position to now you're probably going to lose the game as white. And it's all just because I told you when he made it, these pieces look a little funky. They're not doing anything and they might get caught out. So we just develop towards his king. And now we find this cool move. What's the best move though? Oh, it is the best move. Tied with long castle. Okay, but so long castle, I was looking at this. If he takes, what's our, the Bobby Fischer trap? I mean, you could do that. Yeah, I guess that works too. It's a little weirder on the queen side, the Bobby Fischer trap, because it's more spacious overall, but it still wins a piece, so I guess it's, that's true. I could have played that. But I still like queen f4 because it's more active and creates tons of threats, whereas long castle, it's the more passive option with no threats, so I like my move. I like that we found the best move. We thought about it for a while here. And then it immediately goes from minus 1.6, which means you're probably going to lose, to minus 8, which means you're definitely going to lose. So we take the free stuff, free stuff, free stuff, free stuff, free stuff. Yeah, it's just a perfect game. So what's the mistake? The queen trade, it's mate in 16. Okay, so this isn't even a mistake. Okay, so we got a perfect game. We're figuring out some of the ideas behind this Bronstein-Larsen G-take system. We still haven't been challenged by the most critical tries from white, so we've had kind of easy, but you can see how effective it is and how you get to attack white's king and how he's trying to solve problems along the way. So it's a fun way to play the Caro-Kann instead of the Tartakower variation, which can be way more boring and positional. So it's up to you. Just giving you options. It's a free world. Good luck in your chess, and goodbye.